Hey now! What is up, everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka Review King MB, and I just got done watching, for the very first time, Scooby-Doo! Scooby-Doo is a 2002 film that was directed by Raja Gosnell, and it was written by James Gunn. I couldn't believe seeing that, because now James Gunn is everywhere. You know his name, you know his face. He's done Guardians of the Galaxy. He's done some good horror films. He's about to do Suicide Squad. So he's a name that, at least in the geek community, we know. I had no idea that he wrote Scooby-Doo, the live-action film, that he was any part of it. But we see the plot where the group at the very beginning of the movie breaks up! I watched this and I thought to myself, what? This is the first live-action film. I know that Scooby-Doo, in general, the mythology, if you want to call it, the characters, they've been around for so many decades, so many generations. We all know, essentially, who they are and what they're all about. But I still expected the live-action movie to be maybe somewhat of an origin, or maybe not full-blown, here's their all backstories, but I still thought we would get more of them being together. But no, you see that they're well-established, you see that they're pretty famous, and then they break up because of a disagreement, and then so many years later, they get picked each to do their own mission, only to come to find out that it's all the same thing, so they forced to be brought back together. They go to this island, and they have to figure out what's going on here. People are coming here and then leaving different. You find out that souls are being taken. What I thought of Scooby-Doo, the live-action movie, was I actually had fun with it. I did. I didn't hate the movie. I didn't dislike it like I maybe potentially thought I was going to. I thought it would be very dumb. I thought it would be very cheesy. And in some ways, it is dumb and cheesy. But for some reason, for whatever reason, I was able to go along with it. It was charming. The characters were likable. I think the casting was pretty good as well. It's hard to cast live-action actors to play well-known cartoon animated characters that have been around, that have been established. Hell, look at the Flintstones. Look at all these other things that have tried it, and in my opinion, those movies failed. This, though, you have Sarah Michelle Gellar as Daphne, which this was the height of her Buffy fame, so it's interesting to have her play Daphne, because she's very much the way Daphne was, but they give her a lot more action. There's plenty of times where Daphne's doing some kick-ass things, and I'm like, they're only doing that because she's Buffy. But it does make sense. Freddie Prinze Jr., who gets top billing. Very surprised, I guess, by that. He plays Fred, Fred is Fred. There's not a whole lot to Fred. He's there to be the good-looking, jockey-like guy who, he's the leader, but he's also maybe full of himself at points. Linda Cardellini plays Velma, who, perfect. She's perfect casting. Although, I did see some reviews while I was making notes on this saying that, wow, they actually made Velma hot for the first time. And I guess that's true. Never really thought about it. Other than that, did people think that Velma in the cartoon was hot? Maybe not. Do people think Daphne's hot in the cartoon? I never really think of cartoons in a way like that, but now that I think about it, it's a little odd. Matthew Lillard plays Shaggy, who he might be the best casting. I know that after these movies, he went on to do the voice of Shaggy in the cartoons. But even in live action, I think he's really good. He's very animated. Even though it's clear that Shaggy is the biggest pothead. I know you can kind of get those vibes from the old cartoons as well, but it's very apparent in this time period. It's very apparent with his performance, and it's good. It works. It fits. But him and Scooby together, just for whatever reason, they're bros. Scooby, he's CGI. He's very much CGI. There are points where I do think the CGI looks bad. I guess, how else are you going to do this? In retrospect, you could argue they should have made the dog live action, but it would have been silly. It would have been silly to see a real life dog is there a live action real dog that could look like Scooby-Doo, that could do any of that over-the-top stuff. This is pretty much the cartoon in live action, like completely. All the sensibilities of a cartoon is just brought over here. There's a moment where the characters are running and the floor gives out from them and they all fall, and Scooby is in the air for a few seconds, looks at the camera, and then falls down. It's a cartoon, folks. But again, I enjoyed it. I appreciate it. Some of the other actors, you have Isla Fisher as Mary Jane, which I thought was interesting. You have Rowan Atkinson, Mr. Bean, in this movie. Sugar Ray, they perform, although they don't perform I Just Want to Fly. How do you get Sugar Ray and not get them to perform that song? Who cares about any other of their songs besides that one? Pamela Anderson is at the very beginning of this movie, so I guess I just have to mention that. And Miguel Nunez. I just want to mention him because I was very surprised to see this guy. And, I fully expected him to be the villain as well when they're trying to figure out who could be doing the voodoo, who could be stealing souls, who could be doing this and that. But when you get to the villain, when you get to the reveal of the villain, I'm just going to give it away and say that I cannot believe that they made Scrappy-Doo the villain. Now, I'm not somebody who really gives a crap about them making Scrappy a bad guy. In fact, I don't even think I'm all that aware of Scrappy. He looked familiar, sounded familiar. I looked up his history, and I said, oh, okay, he's just the nephew of Scooby-Doo that was introduced, got a little popular. Some people found him annoying, so he's divided. But there you go. James Gunn said that he hated the character so much that he thought it would be funny to make him the villain. It's an odd situation. And when you see that reveal, and when you see him become this big, huge, giant, jacked up dog, I don't know. It sort of goes maybe a little too far over the top. It lost me a little bit in those last few moments. I'm not saying it's terrible. The souls and the possession stuff, that also caught me off guard. Again, I know Scooby-Doo, and I've seen the cartoons as a kid and whatnot, but I don't remember them. Like, I always thought that they would take these cases, they would think that the ghosts and the paranormal demons and stuff were real, but you'd always find out that it was a person. It was some old guy underneath a mask and pretending to do something, and they would take the mask off, and it's Old Man McGee. And I would have got away with it if it wasn't for those pesky kids. I always thought that was the running, ongoing thing with every episode. Maybe there were times where the paranormal stuff was real, and I just didn't register, or I didn't see those. I don't know. Maybe you guys can let me know in the comments below. Was that a thing in the cartoons where there really were sometimes ghosts and demons and paranormal stuff? Because this movie was all about that. And again, it just sort of surprised me a little bit. Again, the movie's fine. The movie is probably better than it should have been, had a right to be. I had fun with it at points. Let me know in the comments below if you too enjoy the live-action Scooby-Doo film, or do you think I'm crazy? Do you think this movie absolutely sucks and is a spit in the face of the cartoon? It's cool. It's all good. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!